With the latest news about Richaun Holmes' shoulder injury being much worse than originally reported, you can probably tell that this show will be on the negative side. I'm going to be very blunt. I'm very disappointed. And if you want to get rid of some of this disappointment, I'll say it right now. Don't expect that. Because for an organization who essentially got rid of Pete Youngman and Manny Romero, what hope can you have? I'm not saying the people that are in charge now are not professionals. Obviously, you have to be amongst the best to be in those situations. My only problem is a lack of transparency from this organization. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's been an embarrassment. If someone is injured and you have a fan base, just be transparent about it. That's it. It's simple. That's what world class organizations do. Transparency is key to success. I have a headache. And if you want to get rid of a headache, you go to Climb Society Folsom to do some crowd therapy in 3 minutes. You do a session and you will feel much, much better. You can do it now for $40. Just tell them that Cowbell Kingdom sent you guys. For more information, you guys can visit climbsocietyfolsom.com. Boy, oh boy, Richaun Holmes. Let's get to Richaun Holmes. Initially, it was reported that he has soreness. Okay, we bought into it. And I'm not even going to get into the whole Harry Giles as of yet or the Marvin Bagley. But let's talk about Richaun Holmes. So he originally was diagnosed with just soreness. We saw him at practice, spoke to him. He was funny. He looked jacked. He said he was sweating a lot, which is why he did the interview shirtless. And I was hopeful. I was like, well, he returns. Seems like the vibes are heading in the right direction. The positive vibes are playing a little bit better. He's the missing piece that puts it all together, right? Because that's what they need. They need a center who can play in the pick and roll as a lob threat offensively and defensively to switch onto the faster, quicker guards and rebound and defend at a high level. He does all those things. So nobody else does this on that. No one else on this team does that. He's the missing piece to maybe a playoff run down the stretch. They're competing against the Blazers, against the Grizzlies, who are currently in the spot. Who ultimately will probably get it. But it gave me hope. And then it just happened that the following day, he didn't practice. They said there was soreness. And then again, said it was soreness. And then they gave us a different reevaluation of 2-3 weeks. And then today they came out with, oh, it's a torn labrum. Like, if he knew it was a torn labrum, I feel like they knew that all along. They just didn't want to be transparent about it, which doesn't make any sense to me. It's foolishness. It's silly. It's frustrating. And it's my duty and my obligation to speak the truth to a fan base who is hungry for some victories. For a fan base who's been in NBA purgatory for 13 plus years. I don't think it's fair. This fan base deserves better. Let's just call it the way it is. It deserves better. It's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate. And you have a lot of people chiming in nationally saying, man, the Kings are a joke. And I hate to say it, but it's been mismanaged for sure. It's been mismanaged for sure. Just like a lot of the coaching things that I bring up on previous shows and on Twitter and on Instagram, there are certain things that I don't agree with what Luke has done in terms of mismanaging. I think the word this year is mismanaged. The Kings have been mismanaged from top to bottom. The Kings have been mismanaged from top to bottom. At what point do we ask, hey, when is this going to change? The only way is if Kings fans stop going to games, and that's not going to happen because Kings fans are the most loyal fan base in the NBA. And I get it. I wouldn't want to stop going. I wouldn't want to stop going to games either. But at one point, ownership won't really value what they have until things change. And I'm not saying things can't change. And I'm sure they're going to hopefully get together and talk about this as an organization and on how they mismanage this. What's going on with Bagley? What's the truth behind all that? He spoke, was it the last home game? He didn't really say anything. He says he wants to come back and play. Cool. What happened in between you being injured and then coming back and then re-injuring it, and then there's just a lot of question marks, man. A lot of question marks, and it's frustrating. It's extremely frustrating to see that. So that's the business ops side of things, right? If we move on to on court, which has a lot of issues in itself. Last night, there's a lot of positives to take away from that game. They played a Giannis-less Bucks, but they were 4-0 without him, and they've lost a total of 7 games all season long. They're very good. They are very well coached. They have a lot of talent, and it showed because they turned it up in about 2 minutes in the fourth. One of the big reasons, though, is because Luke went away from what was working, and that was HB at the 5, even Belly at the 5. That works too. But I can't have a lineup with both Yogi and Corey Joseph. It just doesn't make any sense. And this idea of not starting with a strong lineup in the beginning of every quarter and at the end of every quarter is just mind-boggling to me. As a coach, one of my biggest criticisms about Luke is he just has a bad feel for when to make the right substitution. It's not typical that, prime example, against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Buddy Hield was, I think they were down 27 at one point. Buddy Hield was the only guy that was essentially making buckets. He pulls him out to put in Bogey, who was bad that entire game. Then he had a turnover. He missed a shot. After Buddy was making shots, he literally just pulled him. And he puts him back in because he's like, well, these guys aren't making shots. But why would you pull him out in the first place? And there's been multiple examples of that all throughout the season. This infatuation with playing Corey Joseph so many minutes in key moments is mind-boggling to me. He's a role player. He does his job. He does what he has to do. You put him in the best situation to succeed. It doesn't mean overplaying him and playing him in crunch time and playing him in critical minutes. You play your best players in critical minutes. I'm okay with you start out with Fox and that team that had you there in a position to win the game to start the fourth, and then at the 9-minute mark you take him out for 2-3 minutes, give him a break, timeouts, blah blah blah, and you put him back out there. Better substitution patterns. I need to see it, man. Last night I saw a lot of positives. They went small. They put HB at the 5. They essentially went Rockets ball, which is the strength of the Sacramento Kings. You have a lot of shooters, a lot of speed. Use it to your advantage. Make the other team adjust to you. You made Coach Bud adjust to you in the sense that he had to pull out Brook because it was a mismatch. HB was just killing him. And then if you throw it in the post, now it's like, as a basketball player, whenever you see a mismatch, especially at first, you want to force it in so much that you forget about everything else. And that just discombobulates your entire offense, your flow, your timing. Because you're like, oh man, Brooke has a 6'7", 6'8" guy on him. Feed him. But what that does too is that gets the defense scrambling. And as you guys know, and as I tweeted out, was, hey, an NBA referee will always give the smaller player the benefit of the doubt, especially on defense. Prime example, Draymond Green. The reason why they get away with playing him at the 5 a lot is because he has great instincts defensively and he has other good defenders around him, which is fine. But he's very strong, low gravity, and he gets the job done. HB can be our Draymond Green. HB can be our Tucker from the Rockets. And I guarantee you right now, if the Rockets had a choice to trade Tucker for HB, they would do it in a heartbeat. Because HB is much more versatile offensively. And he can be just as good defensively. Use the strengths of your players. Highlight those strengths, man. Play your game. Let them adjust to you. And if they don't, just play your game. Outscore the other team. Scramble defensively. Don't go away from what works. This is the hand you were dealt. Now stick to it. That's it. Let's not make this more difficult than what it really should be. I'm tired of seeing this. Last year, same with Dave Yeager. I want to put, if they play 2 bigs, I'm putting 2 of my bigs. Why? Why? Make them adjust to you. That's what good teams do. I'm tired of watching the same coaching nonsense. Take a page out of the Houston Rockets, who have been successful for a long time now. Playing their brand of basketball. Impose your brand onto the other team. Like, this isn't that difficult. Utilize your point guard, your Lamborghini. Give him space to work. He's not going to miss a ton of layups like he did last night. He's just not. I guarantee it. He's going to go back, watch the film, and probably come up with the conclusion that he was pretty soft going up. He will dunk it on your throat the following game. I expect him to be at his best against the Dallas Mavericks, who will have a Luka Doncic playing, because as you guys know, Luka Doncic will play against the Sacramento Kings every single time, without question. And we know why. I'm not going to get into that. But expect a motivated De'Aaron Fox, an angry De'Aaron Fox tomorrow. And please, please put HB at the 5 again and have that super quick moxie lineup out there. It's going to get you points. It's going to throw off the other team. It's going to do it. Trust me. There's not a soul on that team that can guard De'Aaron Fox. There's not anyone in the NBA that can guard De'Aaron Fox. Make him lead you to the promised land. Allow him to put this team on his back, and the rest will follow. The buddies, the bogeys, the bellies, the HBs, they will get open shots, because if Fox is rolling, everybody else will too. He needs to be clicking. You need to put him in the best situation to succeed. That's simple. That's simple. And please don't ever say the Rockets still haven't proven anything. What the hell have the Kings proven besides being mediocre at best? Because they're awful every single season. You're telling me that you wouldn't trade playoff appearances and 1 game away from the NBA Finals by playing this brand of basketball? Let's not jump to conclusions and go from crawling, from being bottomless cockroaches like the Kings are, to now wanting to win a championship. It doesn't work that way. You need to take steps. Okay? Play that brand of basketball. It's going to get you wins. You need to make it to the playoffs before you get playoff experience. And then before you start making decisions like, okay, well, I need this piece. Well, I need this piece. Let's not get silly about this, man. The Kings are awful, and they have been for 13 seasons. I want this team to make the playoffs. That's the first step. Don't tell me that the Rockets haven't proven it. They've proven that they were 1 game away from an NBA championship. 1 game. It's very plausible. It's a make or miss league, and they missed a lot. They missed a lot. They should have won that game. Oh, man. How's everybody doing? Hopefully, you guys can share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. It was a great game up to that fourth quarter. And again, the Kings were going to miss shots, no doubt. But my concern was, will they go back to playing a little bit bigger, a little bit slower? And they did. And then they went down by 10, 11 points like that in a matter of seconds, matter of minutes. The Bucks are good. They're not the T-Wolves. You can't make those mental mistakes as a coach. You're going up against Coach Boonheiser, one of the best in the NBA. The Bucks have a lot of good basketball players on that team. A lot of them. I consider Middleton a great basketball player. And you have a guy like that who has something to prove every single night. He hears the noise. You're nothing without Giannis. You're okay. You're an all-star in the East. Blah, 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 blah. My man just got paid like a max player. He don't care. He's out there just hooping. And he's a hooper. On both sides of the floor. The dude's a hooper. Bledsoe hears the noise. He's sucking the playoffs. Bledsoe's really damn good in the season. Really good. And he was really good last night. Again. Can't make this up, y'all. You can't make this up. Boy, oh boy. The question of this show is, what should the Kings do post All-Star break? Should they focus on making the last run to the playoffs? Do you think it's... Honestly, do you think it's realistic? You should be asking yourself that. If not, you should do a lot of things like DMPs and just start tanking. There are four, in my opinion, four really good players who would make an impact on the Kings. Start with Anthony Edwards. I've spoken about him a lot. I really like him. I still have him number one on my draft board. As of today, things could change because now, from not knowing much about Denny Advia to asking a lot about Denny Advia, watching a lot of Denny Advia, watching games of Denny Advia, I got Denny at number 2 now. 6'9", high basketball IQ, much better defender than Luka Doncic. Athletic. He's not mega athletic. He's not like Anthony Edwards athletic, but he's athletic. At 6'9", has good foot speed. I like him a lot. I got him on number 2. James Wiseman, LaMelo Ball, round out the 4. And you have other guys, right? Tyrese, Cole Anthony, obviously, Vernon Carey, Nico Mannion, Daniel Arturo, Jaden McDaniels, Okongwu, Okoro. A lot of people like Isaac Okoro, or I don't know if it's Okoro or Okuru. I have to learn the enunciations, but and even Theo Maladon. So there are a couple of names that could help the Kings next year. Now it just depends on what their vision is. Is this season over? I'm taking phone calls, y'all. So if you guys want to call in, you guys can call the 209 number that's in the description. Kate says, zero stability with this organization. They need to figure out in order to be able to succeed. If they don't, they will remain a losing, dysfunctional franchise. Amen to that. Exactly. I was frustrated as a Lakers fan. No feel for the game. Bad rotations. Yeah, see, Jovan, I was warned of that, and I'm seeing it in flesh, in the flesh. Like, it's very disappointing that your 4th year as a head coach and you still haven't learned. It gets extremely frustrating. Oh, man. I'm a Raptors fan. Kawhi DeRozan. Hey, the Raptors are so good, bro. Like, I don't know if it's sustainable in the playoffs, right? Because before Kawhi got there, the Raptors were the laughing stock in terms of making it to playoffs, and then in the playoffs just, becoming essentially just a choke artist team. But I really like the DNA of this team, their coach, Siakam, Leo Van Vliet. Man, I think they can make any team struggle and really, really play hard and take them to that last stride, man. It's a well-coached team. They're good defensively. They're well-balanced offensively. I like that. Someone says injuries. Kings are low-key tanking. Houston's offense is to give the ball to Harden and clear out. Just play out and see what happens. Jan McDaniels draft. Talk another question as to the injuries excuse to Vlade. That's why injuries are secret. There are no injuries. They are tanking, but they can't go public right now and say they're. We suck. I think the season is over. Focus on the draft and getting healthy. I want Carl Lewis from Alabama as one of our draft picks. The Kings need to hire you. It's time for a change. I feel like you can get them going in the right direction. Big facts. What can the Kings do better to help their season go better? What can the Kings do better? Just play to their strength. And their strength is in transition, which their pace has gone up since January 1st. I think it's 13th or 12th right now. I'm not entirely sure, but it's improved, but it needs to be top 5. And you got the fastest point guard in the league. It needs to be top 5. And last night was a perfect example of what they can do. If it was any other team, they probably would have blown them out. Playing like that, they would have blown them out. So, again, a lot of credit to the Bucks. They're very good. I hope the Kings beat the Mavericks tomorrow, and I hope they make this late stretch of the playoffs. I really do. That's what I genuinely want. But seeing how things have been ran, I wouldn't be shocked if they look at the draft. It wouldn't be a terrible decision, and I guess I'd be on board with it. But at the same time, it's something that I'm asking you guys, like, what do you guys prefer? So I want the Kings to make it to the playoffs, even if it's an A seed and an elimination in the first round. I think if it's the Lakers or it's the Clippers, if it's the Clippers, it's a sweep. But if they get the Lakers, man, if they get the Lakers, I see them winning one game. I see them winning one game, at least. What's our cap situation for next year? The cap situation is essentially they're going to have a mid-level exception because all the money that they saved in quotation marks is going to bogey because they're going to match whatever offer they get. And I believe the teams that have money is Miami, Charlotte, Detroit, Atlanta, New York. $25 million or more in space. From the research that I did, I may be wrong about Miami. I may not though. I think that was before they signed Iguodala to the 2 years, $30 million. So dang, they're not getting bogey. So just think about Charlotte, Detroit, Atlanta, and the Knicks. Do they want a secondary playmaker like a Bogdanovic, a guy who can score, who can do a little bit of everything? He's not great at one thing, but he's good at a lot of things. The Kings need him without question, and the Kings are going to match. So all that money is going to go there. So the next question is, can you find another Richaun Holmes in the draft? Can you find another Richaun Holmes in free agency? The guy that you bring in as a low risk, high reward, and it worked this year. He outperformed Dedmon, who got paid. Thank goodness they got rid of that guy. Jabari Parker has a player option next year, which I hope he opts in, because that $6 million is not bad to have a guy who can get you buckets. He's shooting above 70% around the rim. So, and it gives you that extra element of finishing, uh, a nice scoring presence off the bench, something that they badly need, something that Bagley could have provided. So we'll see if he plays tomorrow against Dallas. We'll see if he's a factor at all, not even an X factor, but a factor at all post All-Star break. So it'll be very interesting to see that. The Kings have wanted Jabari for a while now, and they're going to get a great chance to see what he has. Fat Baller Benji says, but I'm also afraid for us to get another good draft pick. As long as Vlade's a GM, he's going to F it up in the draft, drafting the wrong player again. That's a fear, without question. And without question, that's one of my fears as well. Leo, how can they get the team defense together? I feel like they can beat every play. How can they improve the defense? It's just more hard to say, man, because this team isn't built to play defensively. Like, they don't have good defenders like that. You know, you have to see what the strengths of your players are. And this team is built to run to outscore teams. You can't have it all with every single team. I'm sorry to tell you guys. Like, it's just not possible to have every single thing. Like, you need to triple down on your strengths and outscore people and make those key defensive plays in key moments. That's what good teams do. They're not a good defensive team, and I don't think they'll ever be a good defensive team. It starts at the point of attack, though, with De'Aaron Fox. He has a chance to be a great defender, but he's not a great defender. He's not even, well, I'm not gonna say he's not a good defender. He's an above average defender from what the stats show. But he can be great. Like, De'Aaron Fox can be great, elite. He has the tangibles, the athleticism, but he doesn't show it every night. He occasionally shows it. So, point of attack, De'Aaron Fox. He can be great. That's fine. Richaun Holmes, elite defender. So you got two guys who can really help you guys out. And they've both been banged up. One guy's missed 15 plus, one guy's missed 25 plus. Or 23 plus. It's tough. It's tough. You need to find, and that's what I'm saying. What's your identity? Your identity is to run and score. So do those things. And then worry about playing defense down the stretch. It just depends on how you build your team, and they've decided to go this way. They've built their team to be offensive juggernaut, and they haven't been either this year. They're not good defensively. They're not good offensively. They need to stick to their strengths. That's simple. Go fast and boost everyone's trade value. Cap going to be tight if we don't move Buddy this summer. Playoff experience would go a long way. Maybe the Nuggets will be top seeded. Need to get Coro in the draft. I know a lot of people like Okoro. Now I think 2021 Miami was the team with money. Everyone need a player like Bogey. Facts. Bogey's been frustrating as much as late. What's wrong with him? Do you think the Kings can turn the season around? I think they can if Luke decides to make good substitution patterns and to manage his team correctly. I think the talent is there for them to make the playoffs. Will they make the playoffs is an entire different conversation. They should have traded for OG Anunoby. Like, I would have loved OG, bro. OG is such a solid basketball player, man. He's exactly what this team needs. He's a 3-4 that's athletic and defend, can knock down, but what do you give up for him, right? And what do the Raptors want in return for him? It's not just a one. Like, you have to get out of this mindset of it's a one-sided thing. Like, no, like, you have to see both sides of the spectrum and see if it makes sense for both teams. Like, right now, a lot of people say, oh, trade Bagley. It'd be the terrible move to trade Bagley because Bagley has no trade value. So they wouldn't get much in return for him, even though he wasted a number 2 pick. And again, wasted is the wrong term because we don't know what Bagley is. But as of right now, for the fans who want to trade him, it's just foolish because you're not going to get much in return for him. So you might as well just play him, play out year 3, see how it goes. Hopefully it goes well for the betterment of this organization. Like, I really want him to work out and to be at least a 15-12 guy. If he could be a 15-12, the Kings would be fine. If he accepts his role as a lob threat, as a guy who can occasionally get the ball in the post and score, but not have a high usage rate, then he's going to be just fine because he can rebound the heck out of the ball. And that second jump, which I hope remains there after all these injuries, it's going to help him a lot. So with more experience, with more reps, he'll be fine. But don't ever expect him to be Luka. Don't ever expect him to be that great because he's not going to be. But if he can be very good, that's what I would really, really want. And that's realistic because he's very talented. So let's just hope for the best is my advice to all Kings fans. If you look at John Morant now, I think he's better than De'Aaron Fox. I wouldn't say he's better than De'Aaron Fox yet. He can be, though. He has that killer instinct for sure. He's a killer for sure. Do you think the Kings? Do you think there would be a change? There's no changes this year happening. Divac is safe. Luke is safe. So no. I think Vlade gets a bad rap for his selections. If you review the players taken after the players you picked, and the drafts aren't that bad. I'm curious which exact drafts he did such a bad job. 2018. And you passed up on Luka Doncic. You passed up on Jaren Jackson, who I had both number 1 and 2 respectively on my big board, who I religiously said he's the best big in this draft. And he is the best big in this draft. And he's going to be the best big in this draft for a long time. He's going to be in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year for many years. Not this year, but he's going to be. His instincts are great. He's just solid, man. Like, Jaren Jackson's just solid. He's really damn good. And it's unfortunate that I was correct about that. It really is. And my biggest frustration about that is that they didn't even bring him in to work him out. Oh boy. You have the number 2 pick and you can't convince anybody to come in. It's just sad. Why didn't the Kings pick up the Jaws option? Nobody knows. And the thing is, I want to ask him that. And so for the press conference, I was in the back. I was by myself that day. It was a Saturday, 6:15 press conference. It was about 6:20 when it started. I couldn't ask the question. And I knew Vlade would dodge the question because Jason Anderson kind of touched on it. And he convoluted the question with a lot of other things, right? And Vlade just went around it, danced around it. And at that point, I saw the PR people just trying to essentially get him out of there. But that should have been one of the first questions asked. And again, there's a lot of relationship-based stuff. When you're in our position, it's a lot more difficult, to be very sincere with you guys. And I was going to go ask that question, and I couldn't get a microphone because I was way in the back with my tripod and my camera. But would Vlade have answered it? Who knows? It probably would have created commotion for all we know. I can probably assume and guess is because they're concerned about his injuries. That's the only thing that would keep him from not picking up his option, especially after having him as the baby project, right? And taking care of him so much. It's just strange. And even so, don't show your cards. This is like a poker game. You showed your hand. Like whatever trade value that he had, because all it takes is one team to say, you know what, he has a lot of potential. I'll take a risk on him and get some value. I'm not saying a lot, but just some. And now you don't pick up his option, and well, you see what's gonna happen. He's gonna leave. Someone's gonna sign him. I think he's shown enough for someone to just to take a flyer and be like, if he can stay healthy, you bring a nice element off the bench that can pass the ball from the high post, who can hit a nice mid-range jump shot, who has room for improvement defensively. I'm telling you, man, it's just a big time mistake from the Kings. Just a big time mistake. Picking up the option wouldn't have cost too much anyway. I forget the exact number, but you have enough cap space for it. And it's just unfortunate. Just a bad decision. Bad decision. The thing that makes me so mad, correct me if I'm wrong, Leo, I heard that they only had to work out with Bagley knowing that you had the number 2 overall pick and number 1 workout with Bagley. So, yeah, I mean, I've said that a lot. It's just, again, it's just foolish to bring in one dude and just keen in on him and he's the guy. Like, it's just ridiculous, man. Bro, you can say he failed in 2018. He failed. Like, you had a chance to draft a generational talent and an all-star. And, like, Jaren Jackson's going to be an all-star for a lot of years. I don't know if you know that. Barring injury, he's going to be an all-star. So if your argument is we don't know what Bagley is, can Bagley be as good as Jaren? Sure. But in the sense that you had a generational talent, a future Hall of Famer, barring injury, that makes you a failure of a draft. Like, that alone makes it a failure of a draft. Let's not kid ourselves. That's a failure. You had a chance to draft a future Hall of Famer in Luka Doncic, an MVP candidate in year number 2. That's a failure. That's a failure, man. I'm sorry. It's a failure. Papagiannis, Malachi, Skal, all busts. Not here, right? You get Bogey. That's good. Good player. Okay. This is top of my head. So, De'Aaron. Going to be an all-star. If you miss on De'Aaron at number 5, when everybody else is already drafted for you, because I guarantee you they would have drafted the bust of that Jackson was. What was his first name? Josh Jackson. I guarantee you they would have drafted him. So that alone tells you, like, they love Josh Jackson. By the way, De'Aaron fell to them. You really can't screw that up. Seriously. Okay. But I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. De'Aaron. Marvin. They're still huge. The jury's still out. So, who am I missing from that draft? I don't know, man. I mean, it's tough to make an argument for Vlade. It really is. Vlade should be fired based alone on the fact that everyone thought the Kings should have drafted Luka, and he went the opposite direction. Oh, Justin Jackson. Well, I'm not going to count second round picks, but sure. Frank Mason, bust. Yeah. Well, Justin Jackson, in some sense, got you Harrison Barnes. So, But if you want to categorize it just as a draft alone, not a good draft pick. Terrible draft pick. Justin Jackson is not a good basketball player. At least not yet. He can be a good basketball player, but as of today, he's not a good basketball player. Yeah, I mean, again, I wish I was wrong, but I was the only one who had Donovan Mitchell on number 10 for the Kings. And they traded that to get Justin Jackson and Harry Giles. Now you decline the option on Harry Giles. So you tell me if he's a good GM. Like, he's made fundamental mistakes in the draft. So has a lot of other guys, but we're not talking about everybody else. We're talking about Vlade Divac. Okay? I understand. He's not alone. There are a lot of bad teams. There are a lot of bad GMs in the league. And he's one of them. He's one of the bad GMs in the league. I'm sorry to tell you that. He decided to fire Dave Yeager last year. That's fine. And I said 41 weeks ago, or 43 weeks now, you better make the playoffs. And I understand there's been a lot of injuries and it's frustrating, but you have to find a way, especially this year where that 8 spot is so weak, to make it. There's enough time to make it. No excuses unless Fox gets hurt. No excuses at all. There's a chance. There's 5 games out. You need to be able to make it. You were a 39-win team. You need to win 40 games at least. Or it's a disappointment of a season. So, yeah. But that's not the point at West Coast, to name players after those players. That you're missing the point. If you're one of 30 GMs, you have to be able to hit. Like, all those players are busts that I just named, except for Bagley and Harry. And the problem with Harry is that they didn't pick up his option. He's going to leave in free agency when it's all said and done. If I'm Harry and I see that you don't have faith in me to pick up my option, I'm leaving. You best believe that. I don't care how much I love Sacramento. I don't care how much I love the fans. I gotta do it for my own dignity, honestly. Like, no. If you're gonna do that and disrespect me, believe in me, disrespect me, you think I'm not gonna leave you? No, for sure. So the only guy that you can hold on to is Marvin Bagley, because we don't know yet. So you tell me if that wasn't a terrible decision. Like, Harry Giles, remember that. If you don't draft Harry, you have OG Anunoby. So if you want to play that game, there's plenty of players that were drafted after him that they could have went and not gone project. And to let go of your project, to not pick up his option, is just mind-boggling to me, man. That's on him. Like, you can't make this up. That's on him. Don't make the 41 wins this year. I agree. Fire him. They also traded a stretch 5 and Collins for Jackson and Giles, and now are looking for someone to fit in space with Bagley. Yeah, I mean, if you're not gonna draft Donovan Mitchell, you draft Zach Collins. Again, he's also been injured though, but theoretically would have been a nice fit, right? Can score, and the inside has a real nice game. He can shoot. He's smart. High basketball IQ. Good motor. You trade him. I mean, Justin Jackson, bro. There's not a team that would have drafted Justin Jackson in the top 15, but the Kings. Because it was just. When I watched him work out and we interviewed him, I understood he was a great guy, a great human being, but I was like, man, there's not a team in the top 15 that would draft him except for the Kings. And they drafted him. And I said it that day. I said it was a mistake. And it was a mistake. Yeah, I mean, but theoretically, when he does play, he's been good. Like Zach has been good when he's played. And you don't know if he would have gotten injured in Sacramento. That's the other thing. Like, you don't know that. We know Harry Giles was injured. Like, we knew that. Like, we knew that. Uh, Pelicans killing Portland. What a disaster of a year. Looking back at it, type of retrospectively, we should feel like really stupid. But again, nobody knew Mitchell was going to be this good. Um, should the Kings keep Bazemore? I can't answer that yet because I don't know. I have to see who's out there, what's going to happen, what's going to happen in these final 27, 28 games, and I'll give you my decision from there. You're saying he made bad picks, but the players picked after them were trash. Giles for sure was a mistake. So Jaren Jackson is trash. Trae Young is trash. I'm not even. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. Just without looking at anything. So you have the number 2 pick. And again, I get it. Like, he's injured. We don't know what he is. Fine. I'll give you that. But after year 3, if we don't see massive improvement from Marvin Bagley, that argument ends. And like I said, De'Aaron Fox fell to them. So who has he really chosen that gives you, like, my God? You know? And yeah, he missed on Donovan Mitchell. And if I would look back at the draft, I'm sure there's someone else in that draft that I'm missing. I know he loved Markelle Fultz. So again, De'Aaron fell to them. I'm trying to think. West Coast. Any GMs y'all think the Kings could get a return and ship around? From the top of my head, no. But I'm sure it can't get much worse than what we've seen, though. That much I do know. That much I do know. Oh, Bam. There it is. Bam, who I loved. Ah, damn, man. I told you guys, if you watched that vlog on the first California Classic, is it the first California Classic or the second one? I don't know if it was the second one. I don't know. One of the California Classics, I was like, Bam's gonna be so good. Like, Bam's gonna be so good. And my gosh, is Bam effing good. Like, Bam is so solid, bro. Oh my goodness. So the second one, the Kings make a front office change after the season. They should, but they're not going to. Uh, yeah, man. It's been a frustrating season for sure. Yeah, I mean, Bam was playing point five. I remember that, and I was just so impressed by him. I said, all these little mistakes. Once he has better players around him, you just saw the skill set. I was like, my gosh, this guy's gonna be so good. He's a warrior, man. Damn. Bam and Fox would have been one of the craziest duels ever. Like ever. Like ever. Damn, that would have been crazy. So you're paying 2 people for one person's job. I feel bad for Holmes knowing how good his season and now he's injured. Yeah, I mean, Richaun Holmes is a stud. But hey, man, gotta hope for the best. I wish him but the best. That's my guy. Um, that's gonna do it, y'all. It's been a depressing show without question. If my energy wasn't high, it's because I'm pretty pissed about how everything's happening, and this entire season's been just bad. And I hope they can turn it around. They're only 5, 6 games out. That's what I hope they do. Will they do it? Again, question of the show. What should they do? We'll soon find out. I wouldn't be shocked if they beat the Mavericks tomorrow. Seriously, like I wouldn't. But I wouldn't be shocked if they got blown out. So, and that's not a good thing. Like there's no consistency to this team at all. There's just there's no pulse to this team. That's the problem. Skip, my brother. Feel better, Leo. Feel better, everyone. I know it's hard. All we got is each other. Big facts, brother. Big facts. To my brother Curtis, man. Back will be good. Just health and playing time. That's all. Fire this dumb coach. He's ruining our young players. Jabari Smith is going to play tomorrow. Jabari Parker, maybe he might play, but we'll see what happens, man. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate the support. See y'all on the next one.